Hey everyone, my name is Rachel and I'm a product manager in big tech. When I first started college, I had to apply for internships just 4 months after writing my first line of code. And while almost everyone was spending hours prepping for software engineering internships and lead coding, I just couldn't bring myself to enjoy it at all. Then I discovered product management, a role that paid more than six figures right out of college, let me be creative, and stay close to tech without needing to code every single day. I was immediately hooked. However, I learned that lots of people actually had the same revelation as me. Breaking into product management is challenging at any stage, even with relevant experience. With a typical ratio of about one product manager for every 10 software engineers, there were simply fewer product roles available. What I've learned is that the easiest way to land a full-time product management role is by first securing a PM internship, and that's exactly what I'll be walking you through in this video today. Let's get started. First, let me walk you through the agenda for today. We'll start with the prep work before you apply, then cover how to find and track PM internship opportunities and effective cold outreach strategies that actually get responses. Then we'll talk about what to do if you're not getting interviews, how to prepare for questions you can anticipate like behavioral and company fit ones, and then how to practice for unpredictable product questions such as design, estimation, and case studies. So first, let's start with the essentials, getting your resume ready. I made a video that covers this topic in depth in transforming your resume to one that stands out for product management, but here are the key takeaways. Number one, don't worry if you've never had a product management title. What matters is how you frame your experience to hone product skills by highlighting your impact, backing it up with success metrics, and connecting the dots for your recruiter so they know that you're thinking and operating like a product manager already. Next, don't pad your resume with irrelevant experiences just to fill up space. I've fallen victim to this as my freshman resume still listed middle school consolation prizes like being chess captain. Focus on building experiences that actually develop relevant skills, which we'll cover how to do later in the video. Make sure your resume fits on one page if you have less than 10 years of experience and doesn't read like an essay. And lastly, get feedback from upperclassmen or folks who are in roles that you aspire to be in. Most of the time, they're more than happy to quickly review your resume and share advice. Next, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Does the cover letter really matter? If a job specifically asks for one, then yes, it's worth putting in the effort to show how your experiences align with what the role is looking for. But if it doesn't, honestly, not really. I've yet to see any strong evidence or anecdotes about a cover letter making a big difference, so don't overthink it. Next, we want to amass your list of product management internships to apply for. The first and most obvious place is LinkedIn. I used to have this constant fear of missing deadlines because some postings close ridiculously fast, so I filter for jobs posted within the last 24 hours and check for new listings every single day. Definitely not the healthiest routine, but it worked. Secondly, when I was applying, there wasn't really an intuitive or updated list of product management internships. Back then, the holy grail was a Pittsburgh CSC GitHub, but it only covered software engineering roles. I checked again for the first time in 5 years, and I was happy to see that they've actually added a solid, regularly updated list for product management internships too. I'd also recommend consolidating listings from multiple sources like these and tracking your applications in a spreadsheet. Include the job title, company, deadline if available, and your current status. It'll help you stay organized and following up with companies so much easier. Let's say you apply to all 200 available internships, and with an average 3% interview rate, you may only hear back from a few. How do you find more internships to apply for? The answer is you don't wait for openings, you create them. Many experts estimate that up to 70% of roles aren't publicly listed. In other words, most openings are filled through direct outreach, networking, or internal referrals. So then the question becomes, how do you find and actually get noticed for these jobs? For me, the answer has always been cold outreach. There's a lot of nuance of writing the perfect cold email or message, but in my experience, it really comes down to perfecting a few key things. Number one, you want to find the right person to contact. Search for product management recruiter at X company or early career recruiter at X company on LinkedIn. Another trick is looking at past interns at the company of interest, as many post something like excited to start at company and often tag or thank the recruiter. Additionally, for companies hiring interns in other roles like engineering or design, they're often more likely to have headcount for product interns as well. It's worth reaching out to those recruiters to ask about potential openings or upcoming opportunities. Next, let's start to craft a punchy and credible subject line. Recruiters' inboxes are flooded, so you need something that stands out without sounding clickbaity. For example, you might say, inspired by X company's mission to do Y, interested in getting involved. Then we have your opening line to hook in the reader. Start with something more personalized that proves you've done your homework and this isn't a mass email you're saying to everybody. For example, you might say, I've been following company X since your launch of this feature/product, and I really admire how it simplifies this user problem. It's one of the cleanest product experiences I've ever seen. Then we have the why you section. In 1 or 2 sentences, introduce yourself and highlight a measurable impact that demonstrates your product skills. For example, you might say something like this. I'm a computer science student who led a team to build a campus app used by 2,000 students. I love using data to prioritize what to build next and turn feedback into real features. This is the kind of work I'd be excited to do at Company X. Next, state a clear call to action. Be clear and low pressure. You're not asking for a job on the spot, but rather starting a conversation to learn more about potential opportunities or how you could strengthen your candidacy. For example, you might say, I know you may not have product management internships posted right now, but I'd love to learn more about how your team approaches early product roles and what you look for in strong candidates. Would you be open to a quick chat? And lastly, you want to close the email by thanking them for their time and expressing genuine interest in staying connected. Now let's talk about a few quick tips that can make the difference between getting a response and getting buried in a crowded inbox. First, you want to make sure to keep your email under 150-ish words. Then, please personalize the first 2 lines of the email. This is what hooks the reader in and shows that this isn't a copy and paste message. Then, close with a simple professional signature that includes your name, LinkedIn profile, and portfolio if it's relevant. Finally, follow up in about a week if you don't hear back. If there's still no response after another week, it's best to leave it, be respectful, and not risk getting sent to the spam folder. Bring all these elements together. Here's an example of what your cold email could look like if you're applying to a fake health tech startup called CareLink. So the subject line is, congrats on CareLink's growth, curious how your product team is scaling. Congratulations on CareLink's recent $5 million seed round. I've been following your work in digital health, and it's impressive to see how your team is modernizing a legacy industry that's been slow to embrace innovation. My name is Rachel, and I'm a computer science student with experience at 2 seed stage startups. I'm also building a student subletting platform for my college that now supports over 5,000 students and became profitable within its first year. That experience taught me how to identify friction in outdated systems, prioritize user needs, and design intuitive solutions that scale, similar to how CareLink is tackling inefficiencies in healthcare coordination. I didn't see a product management internship listed yet, but I'd love to learn more about your product roadmap and how early career PMs can get involved. Would you be open for a quick chat or pointing me to the right person? Thank you for your time, Rachel. And insert my LinkedIn profile or portfolio link. Now the big question is, how much effort should you actually put into a cold email? It's true that outreach is partly a numbers game. The more emails you send, the more chances at a response. But there's no exact formula for success. The general rule of thumb is simple though. Quality always beats quantity. One thoughtful, well-researched message will almost always get a better response than 5 generic copy and pasted ones. So what if you've been applying nonstop, reaching out to recruiters, asking referrals, and still not getting interviews? Don't panic. Here are some things you can do in the meantime to stand out more as a product manager candidate. First, join a startup, even if it's not the highest paying option. Startups almost always need help and are eager to bring on motivated and scrappy individuals. I know it can feel like a step back, but early stage startups are the best training ground for aspiring PMs. You'll get hands-on experience shaping features, gathering user feedback, and making real product decisions. These stories become gold in behavior interviews and help you naturally think and communicate like a PM. Second, look for a lateral transition. If you're already working or have previous experience, ask about shadowing a PM or joining in a product-related role. Even partial exposure helps build credibility and gives you real examples to reference in future interviews. And lastly, keep prepping while you apply. Don't wait until you have an interview scheduled. Practice product design, estimation, and systems design questions regularly, questions you know that most product management interviews will ask. For example, I used to get daily emails from Daily Product Prep with short practice prompts, and spending just a few minutes answering them each day helped me keep my framework sharp and my thinking product focused. Let's say you have an interview scheduled. How do you prepare for it effectively? Step 1. Research the company. First, do your homework on the company. Learn what they do, who their users are, and why their product is succeeding or where it might fall short, and what you do to improve the product. Look into recent launches, updates, or market trends. Most companies share a ton of bite-sized insights on YouTube, LinkedIn, or their blog that can help you quickly get up to speed. Step 2. Prep the 2 main behavioral questions. Next, make sure you've nailed down your 2 core behavioral stories, one where you failed and one where you succeeded. Almost every interviewer will ask some variation of these questions. The beauty of prepping them early is that you can reuse and adapt them for other prompts. For instance, your failure story could easily answer, tell me about a challenge you faced, and your success story could work for, tell me about a time you showed leadership. To structure your answers, use the STAR method. Outline the situation, explain your task or responsibility, describe the action you took, and finish with the result of your action. To strengthen your response even more, you can also mention what you do differently next time. Your goal is to connect your actions and impact to qualities the company values, things like ownership, collaboration, or customer obsession. For example, if I were answering the "tell me about a time I failed" question, I might say something like this. At a previous startup, I led a project to improve onboarding and push a redesign based mostly on internal assumptions. Adoption dropped post-launch and user retention fell short of target. I owned the mistake, ran usability tests, and learned users were confused by the new flow. After simplifying the design and adding contextual cues, activation improved by 40%. It taught me the value of validating early and balancing intuition with real user insights. I'll also be making a more in-depth video about structuring these behavioral questions too. Step 3. Prepare predictable parts of the interview. Once you've nailed your behavioral stories, start preparing for the questions you can expect. There are 3 different types of questions here. Number 1, why do you want to be a product manager at this company? The favorite product question, and questions to prepare at the end of the interview. First, let's say we're being asked, why do you want to be a PM at this company? If I were applying to the same health tech startup I mentioned earlier, my answer might look something like this. I'm excited about CareLink because you're solving a deeply complex problem, helping patients and providers access and act on health data more efficiently. At my last startup, I built data tools that help the team uncover insights to scale our product more effectively. I led efforts to streamline workflows, design flexible dashboards, and use metrics to inform prioritization, ultimately improving efficiency across teams by more than 30%. That experience reinforced how thoughtful product design and data accessibility can drive meaningful impact, and I'm excited by how CareLink is tackling that challenge at an even greater scale, where I'm excited to apply both what I've learned and grow as a product manager leading end-to-end product strategy, driving expansion to new markets. Another question that product management interviews will often ask, and you can prepare for beforehand, is what is your favorite product and why, and how would you improve the product? I have a full video breaking down how to do this, but here's a high-level approach. You want to pick a product and explain why it's your favorite in a way that highlights your product sense, empathy, and perspective on what makes something great. Go beyond "I just like the design" and talk about the problem it solves, who it serves, and how it delivers value. Then connect it back to the company you're interviewing at. Look for overlaps between your favorite product and theirs. Maybe both emphasize accessibility, user growth, or data-driven personalization. The goal is to show that the way you think about products align with the company's values and vision. And lastly, think about the questions that you want to ask at the end of the interview. These are a great way to show how you think about product management. They should reflect curiosity, critical thinking, and genuine interest in how the team builds and prioritizes. Some examples include, what's something you're excited about that's coming up in the product roadmap? How is the company adapting to recent surges in AI innovation? What do you think distinguishes PMs here who excel early in their careers from those who plateau? How is mentorship valued at this company? One that I default to is, what was your journey into product management like? As I find people naturally like to talk about themselves, and it ends the interview off on a light note. Next, I want to talk about how to prepare for product questions where you don't know exactly what the question will be, but you still want to build the right muscle to answer them. These questions include the product design question, where you're asked to design or improve a product, estimation questions, root cause questions, where you diagnose why a product metric is going up or down, and other case study questions as well. I'll have separate videos breaking each of these down in more detail, but what I found most helpful when prepping for these types of questions were these 3 things. Number 1, ask your recruiter what to expect in the product interview. Just make sure you're not being pushy or trying to get the exact questions out of them. Number 2, read books that outline key frameworks and examples, like Decode and Conquer and Cracking the PM Interview. I'd focus on chapters 10 through 16 in Cracking the PM Interview, since those cover general PM prep, not just the FANG-style questions. And number 3, practice, practice, practice. It's great to practice casually throughout the recruiting season, but make sure you have more focus sessions in the weeks leading up to your interview. Don't cram a few mock interviews the night before. You can find mock interview partners through communities like Product School or Lewis Lin Slack group. The format's simple. One person asks a question, you go through it, give feedback, and then swap. You'll be surprised by how many people want to mock, and it's a great way to build real connections in the PM community too. Some of the people I practiced with years ago are still friends and I keep in touch with today. That's it for this video. I hope this gave you clear instruction and more confidence when prepping for the busy product management internship season. Thanks for watching.